My name is Elif. I am 27 years old and I'm the only child in my family. I grew up in a very wealthy home, in a big house in Istanbul. I was born 20 years after my parents got married. There was a big age difference between me and my parents. They were not young. People always found it strange, but my mother said they waited a long time to have a baby. My father was a quiet and kind man. He loved me very much, but he was always afraid of my mother. Everyone was afraid of her. My mother was very strict. She never let me wear pretty dresses or do the things that other girls did. She never let me go to birthday parties, and she took me to school and picked me up herself every day. She did not allow me to go on school trips with my classmates. I could not wear sports clothes at school, and I could not play or exercise like the other students. I was also not allowed to use the toilet at school. My mother made special underwear for me. Every morning, our housemaid Zainab helped lock the straps of the underwear with wax. When I came back from school, my mother unlocked it. Then I quickly ran to the bathroom to use the toilet. She made me afraid of men. She said that men only wanted to hurt me. She told me I should never play or talk with boys at school. Everyone said I was lucky. I had everything a girl could want, but no one knew the truth about my life. We didn't visit anyone. We never went to any parties. No one ever came to our house. My father and our maid Zainab were my only friends and playmates. At home, I used to talk with Zainab. She was very kind to me, but only when my mother was not there. My father also took me to the park. We used to ride bicycles together. Those were the best hours of my life. I knew my mother loved me, but she wanted me to be afraid of her and always obey her. She didn't show love with kindness. She showed it with control and rules. She always said, "If you don't listen to me, I will kill myself." I was very afraid that she might die, so I accepted all the punishments and hardships. I stayed silent. I followed every rule, because in my heart I thought if I made her angry, maybe something bad would happen to her. I grew up with fear and many limitations. I went to university, but even at university I was under watch. I sometimes saw him there, following me from a distance. I graduated from university and started working at a well-known company. The boss was a rich man who knew my father. But my mother sometimes came to my office without telling me, just to check on me. When I left the office, I had to send her my live location so she could see where I was. At work, everyone was surprised by her behavior. Her actions made me feel ashamed. The company belonged to a rich and kind man. He was generous and cared about people, and all the workers liked him. His son, Mart, was also working there as his assistant. Mart was a young and handsome man. From the first time I saw him, my heart started beating fast. I talked about him with Selin, my only friend. But my mother was secretly listening outside the room. She asked Selin who we were talking about. Mart's family was looking for a simple and good girl for their son. After a few weeks of knowing me, they helped Mart to get closer to me. Mart told me he liked me. I was secretly very happy because I loved him too. but I couldn't show my feelings. Any small romantic feeling was a sin in my life. Our families agreed, and we got engaged. My mother always watched me closely. She did not allow us to touch each other. One time, when she found out we kissed, she punished me. She made me sit all night on the cold floor in the basement. She told me to pray and ask God to forgive me. Then she would take me to the bathroom, pour water on my head, and pray. She told me to repent. You have committed a big sin, and said, you shouldn't even hold hands until your wedding night. Finally, the day of our wedding came. Until the last moment, my mother was watching me with worried and warning eyes. The party ended, and Mart and I were finally alone in our room. When Mart tried to come close to me, I moved away and ran toward the door. Mart looked at me with surprise. When he saw the fear and panic on my face, he said, "We're both very tired. Let's just go to sleep early." I felt guilty even sleeping next to him in the same bed. The words my mother had told me for so many years were still in my head. She had always warned me about sin, about love, and about men. Because of her, I couldn't express my feelings. She had turned me into a shy, cold, and quiet woman. When we got close, I didn't feel happy. Inside, I felt guilty. I always felt like my mother was watching me. But I still tried my best to make Mart love me. I didn't want him to know about my inner feelings. Mart was a handsome and wealthy man. Many women were always around him. Before marrying me, his life was full of parties, fun, and freedom. Now, he started comparing me to those other women. He came home late every night for some excuse. He was drunk when he came back and fell asleep right away. Finally, I got tired of this situation. I asked him, "Why do you come home so late every night?" He looked at me and said, "Because I don't like this kind of life. I never loved you. I married you only for my parents. They wanted me to do it. I only married you because I needed my father's money." He was drunk, and he spoke the truth with boldness. How foolish I was to believe that he loved me as much as I loved him. I thought I had escaped my mother's prison. I thought I had entered a life full of love, warmth, and free from fear and anxiety. I thought I would be the happiest with Mart. After I heard the truth from Mart, I was deeply hurt. I felt very sad. Everything looked dark to me. I felt alone again. But I had no way back, so I tried to accept life with all its difficulties. I stayed silent again. I kept myself busy with work and with Mart's family, who loved me very much. My mother was still trying to control me. "Why did you smile at the factory worker? Why did you drink alcohol? Why don't you have a baby?" One day, my father said, "Come, let's go cycling in the park like we used to." We went to the park together and rode our bicycles. We talked and laughed. Suddenly, my father became serious and said, "Elif, I must tell you a secret. I always wanted you to know the truth, but your mother never allowed it." He said that my mother had written everything down. She wants you to know after she dies. I looked at him with surprise and waited. His eyes were full of tears and his lips were trembling. Suddenly he put his hand on his chest, made a short cry, and fell down. I bent over him and called his name, but his eyes were staring into the distance and had become still. He had passed away. My dear father was gone. His kind heart no longer beat. He was not breathing. A few weeks passed, full of sadness and pain. During this time, Mart showed me more love and kindness. Day and night, I kept thinking about the secret my father wanted to tell me. After my mother felt better, I asked her about it. She said, "You will only understand after my death." After I got better, Mart went back to his old habits again. He left me alone with my loneliness. I didn't tell anyone because I wanted everything to look normal. For some time, my mother had been sick. After work, I would go to her house and take care of her with Zainab's help. One day, while I was looking through her wardrobe to change her clothes, I saw a small box. She had hidden it behind her clothes. I opened the box and found an envelope inside. She had hidden it behind her clothes. I opened the box and found an envelope inside. Inside the envelope, there was also a photograph. It was a photo of a very young and beautiful girl. Her face looked innocent and very calm. She had soft eyes and a gentle smile that made my heart ache. I could feel something deep just by looking at her. On the back of the photo, something was written in delicate handwriting. It said, "Esma, my dear daughter, please forgive me." I started reading the letter while my heart was beating fast and my hands were shaking. A secret as big as a mountain. And after reading that secret, I asked myself, who am I? What is this world? Am I really alive? Am I awake? It was a long letter full of secrets, a secret that pulled me down from the sky to the ground. It said,
Elif, when you read this letter, I will no longer be in this world. I didn't want you to know this secret while I was still alive. You are not our daughter. You are our granddaughter. You are the daughter of Esma. Esma, our dear girl. Your grandfather and I had only one child, and we had a sweet, warm, happy life. We lived in the city of Izmir. Esma was a happy girl. Your grandfather and I gave her a free, joyful, and comfortable life. When Esma was in high school, my brother Demir was accepted into a university in Izmir. He came to our house. Your grandfather and I asked him not to stay in a dormitory. We had a big house with several extra rooms, so we asked him to live in our house. He agreed to live with us. We were happy that Esma wouldn't be alone anymore. They went to the park together. They went to the cinema together. Esma was very happy, but we didn't know that my dirty brother had tricked her and started a relationship with her. When we found out Esma was pregnant, Demir ran away. We took Esma to the hospital for an abortion. But the doctor said she was too weak, and she might die. So we had to wait for the baby to come. Our life turned dark and full of pain. My husband's family blamed me and broke all contact with us. We hid from people. Everyone judged us. Everything was broken, and we couldn't fix it. Esma was not well. She gave birth early, but that same night, she passed away. Our only child, our dear daughter, died as young. We were in a very bad condition. You stayed alone in the hospital for several days. I didn't want to take you. I didn't love you. I blamed you for Esma's death. But your grandfather brought you home. With Zeynep's help, he took care of you. We moved to Istanbul to escape people's gossip. We told everyone you were our own child. All the strict rules I had for you were because I was afraid something might happen to you, like it did to Esma. I wanted to protect you from danger, so I tried to control everything. I loved you. But every time I saw you, I saw all my pain too. You were not guilty, but you were the result of a great sin.
When the letter ended, I saw my whole life like a film in my mind. I realized why I had suffered so much. I felt like an earthquake inside me. Everything I believed was a lie. The people I loved, the people I trusted, they had hidden this from me my whole life. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know where I belonged. Was I even wanted? Was I just a mistake? I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I kept thinking about the past. I cried every night. My heart was full of questions that had no answers. At the same time, my marriage was falling apart. Mart, my husband, didn't love me. He didn't even try to hide it, and I was left alone, again and again. I had always been quiet. I had always tried to be the good girl. But something inside me was breaking. All the pain I had hidden for years, it was rising like a storm. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I started to look at myself in the mirror and ask, "Who are you, Elif? What do you want? Why are you still pretending to be okay?" I was tired of being quiet, tired of trying to make everyone else happy while I was dying inside. One day, I sat alone in my room. I looked around and felt nothing, not love, not safety, just emptiness. I knew I had to make a change. I couldn't live this life anymore, not for my mother, not for my husband, not for anyone else.
I wiped my tears. I stood up slowly. I said to myself, I will not give up. I took a deep breath. I started to write my thoughts in a notebook. Day by day, I felt stronger. I began to understand my feelings. I learned to love myself again. I chose to live my life with truth. I decided to be my own support. I was not a mistake. I was a survivor.
My dear friend, thank you so much for listening to this story till the end. I truly appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe to Tales English World and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next stories. Thanks again.